Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It's Coffee Ann here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's Friday morning. It's May 26th. And my name's Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us on the Coffee Ann program. With me at the Coffee Ann table is Woonsocket City Council Vice President Valerie Gonzalez. Hi, Valerie.
Hi, good morning.
Nice of you to join us this morning. And Dave Richards will be here. Well, we're going to be talking about the Dignity Bus.
That's right.
That Valerie's a big part of. But before we get things going, Dave will be joining us in a few minutes. The good news is, well, the not so good news first was the missing child yesterday.
Yes.
In the city of Woonsocket. Ran away, I guess, from Citizens School. And the red alerts went out.
Mm-hmm.
I got the phone calls. I got the text messages and the emails and things like that to be on the lookout for this little boy and what he was wearing and like that. But the good news is he was found.
He was found, which is the
So,
great
phew.
news. Yeah.
Yes, safe and sound. Now they're not giving out too much information. They just said he was found
Yeah.
and everything's okay.
And
And we left it at that.
and he must run pretty fast.
Well,
Yeah.
elementary school kids can
I
when
know.
they really want to.
Well, I know I
There's-
can't chase anybody right now, so anybody will outrun me
They're
at this moment.
they're slippery,
Yeah.
and they're small, and they can hide really well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it just reminded. I remember back when I was in elementary school, 1970 or something, and I remember watching a kid run away from elementary school.
Yeah.
I ran up the street, and I remember the principal running after him. This was at recess time, and the principal just walking back. He couldn't find him.
Yeah, and you have all these protocols, but
And now you do,
know,
yeah.
they're slippery.
Yes, they are. All right, so good news here in Woonsocket that he was found, and we can kind of go back to normal. And the other, keeping it on school news, we had the story today. Something happened at the Hartnett Middle School in Blackstone yesterday, where an 11-year-old, I believe 11-year-old, allegedly brought a razor to school
Oh, I missed that one.
and slashed another kid's hand.
Oh, wow.
That required stitches. Now, I didn't say if it was the outside or the inside, not that it really matters, but the kid is now facing simple assault charges.
Wow, that's, it seems like the news keep coming to younger and younger
Yes.
kids, which there was a time that you never thought something like that would happen at a middle school.
No, because they're too young.
Yeah.
That won't happen there. But now, and I'm like, well, I'm looking at it. The authorities say that the two kids are known to each other. So this is not something that random has happened. So I'm trying to put two and two together. I said, okay, it's one of two things. I'm thinking either the kid that got the stitches, he could have been bullying the other kid, and then the kid had finally had enough, and he's going to take it out, or it's completely the other way
The other way
around.
around, yep.
and I don't know which it is.
Yeah, but we do know that bullying is a big part. That's actually a good guess because of how popular it's become in the schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you hear about it, and I, my daughter is 17, and she heard it all growing up through school. No bullying, but it still takes place.
Yeah, and I know that Woonsocket has worked really hard. I know Amy Costa worked on renewing the policies of bullying, for their schools. And again, you put all these protocols and you do all
Programs
that you can.
and
Yeah.
assemblies and things like that.
But it slips here and there. It happens.
It'll never be, well, it can never be 100%.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be that person that wants to be the top dog
Yeah,
over everybody. I mean, that's
Dave, right?
Well, I was going to say Donald Trump, but yeah, okay, let's go with Dave.
We love Dave.
But it's just like that in society. There's always the people that want to be, nope, I want to have complete power over everybody.
Yeah.
And this is how I get it, by being strong and crushing the younger kids.
Yeah, but I have found in my life that
It's gotten better, yeah.
the best way to get to the top is to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you do that, you actually achieve a lot more
Yep.
than if you try to bully anybody. It doesn't, there's only a limited amount of people that you're going to intimidate,
Right.
but there's a lot more people that you can affect with kindness.
Have you found that that's helped you in the business world and in your political career?
Well, I think it got me top vote getter twice.
Okay,
So
that's
I
good
think,
proof right there.
and again, it wasn't that I was this amazing politician. I just think it has been that since I got to Woonsocket, I just, want to get along and I want to work with whomever, wherever, as long as we're moving towards progress.
All right. Where were you before coming to Woonsocket?
I was actually in Milford, Massachusetts.
All right, not too far away.
Yeah, not too far. When I got married in 1997, I moved there, but I was in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'm going backwards now. In Allentown, Pennsylvania. Before Allentown, I was in Brooklyn, New York.
Wow.
Before Brooklyn, New York, I was in Puerto Rico. And before Puerto Rico, I was in Brooklyn again because that's where I was born.
All right.
You know,
Wow.
Brooklyn girl. And and we did live 1 year in Mexico. My father was a computer technician, and it was during
He
the
could work anywhere.
Moved around.
well,
yeah.
they moved him around to kind of do teachings and things
Yeah.
like that. So we had quite a bit of moving around.
All right, cool. Dave says, now that you're back in the studio here, can you pull
Yeah,
up
sorry
your-
about that. I was just talking
your-
to Glenn from Rhode Island Energy. He's doing some work on the gas lines.
All right. Can you take a look at what's going on with the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce, as they are the sponsor of the first segment of the Coffee and program?
I can do that, but I had my remote control up for Valerie, so I have to quickly get there for you. What's coming up at the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce? Let's find out. It's in my email box, the upcoming event list. And if I click on that, June 7th is when, Joe? It's coming up a week after next, right?
A week from Wednesday. 2 weeks. Wait a minute, what's today?
Yeah. It's the Welcome
Week from
Wednesday
Wednesday.
Networking Coffee
All
event.
right.
And then on June 13th, Networking Pop-Up, Revival Brewing, and Lost Valley Pizza. And then on June 20th, Cocktails and Conversations. Things may slow down a little bit after that. Our last event, by the way, of course, was on the 23rd on Tuesday, the Networking Pop-Up at Tavallo. Very well attended. Thought we'd just make a little business on that. Our General Assembly is hard at work down in Providence, and because of that, of course, you need to keep an eye on them little critters down there and see what's going on. They just keep passing laws you're responsible for, and surprise! So at the very least, the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce will let you know what's coming. If you have a concern about them, where I just had that. As a matter of fact, Steve Casey and Melissa Murray are the rep and senator for our district here. And so I made sure that I communicated to them, because the chamber showed me a copy of a bill that the unions are trying to get through the legislature that I felt was laudable in intent, but very, very bad in the way that it would be executed. So I told them, I said, look, simply go forward with it, but simply change this to that, and you got my support. And which is what you're supposed to do in this society, you know. If your constituents supposed to contact their representatives and say, "I got a problem with this," because if they don't hear from you, they figure it's okay with you, right? All right, and then later it's too late. Well, the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce was responsible for pointing that little thing out to me, so I was able to contact my representatives in the legislature and tell them what my thoughts were. It's all part of the process. But I don't have time to go reading every bill. Oh, come on. I can't do that. And I can't spend time down there to testify. So I depend on the advocacy of the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce. 334-1000. Remember, call them after 9 o'clock this morning. They will be in the office, and they can tell you how the chamber can work hard for you.
All right, Dave, thanks. And before we get to the Dignity Bus, one more thing. Kirkbride Country Club had to cancel 14 weddings because of the fire.
Yeah.
And in your constituent, not your constituent, your colleague, Garrett Mansiri, had a wedding there this Saturday. His cousin was getting
wow.
married.
You mean
and,
tomorrow?
Yes. And
Wow.
they didn't know what they were going to do. There was talk of putting up a tent, although it'd be a nice day to have a nice wedding reception under a
That's-
tent on the grounds, but they didn't know if that was going to be possible. And their other option was, well, the church has been booked and the honeymoon's been booked. We'll just have the party when we come back.
Yeah, that's really challenging, especially when you know that they've done shows just like Bridezilla and
Sure.
all these because of how much emotional how vested people are into what is.
Let's face it, how totally
amazing day.
unrealistically crazy they are. I mean, let's
Yeah.
take 10 steps back. By the way, we should make sure that nobody gets the wrong idea. If they're half listening to us, Garrett is not being married.
No,
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 no.
no. No,
He was
Gary's
just
not getting married.
attending.
He was invited guest
Yes.
at a
Yeah.
wedding for someone else. But let me get back to that. Joe, you know, one of the solutions to all of this that is I admire because it's just so in focus and so rational is that, well, let's go to the church. Let's take the honeymoon.
Yeah.
And we'll have the party on a makeup date.
Yeah.
Well, when I
How bad is that?
when I got married in 1997, I wanted to just buy a house and have the wedding in the backyard.
Okay.
Like I just said, let's just go. But my husband's father was a minister, and he was very well known. And do you know that my father-in-law went on the radio and invited people to our wedding? We had 350 people show up to our wedding.
With food for only 100.
No, actually, we knew it was family alone. I mean, his
right,
family, he's one of 8, I'm one of 5, you know, and then our parents are like one of 10 or 12. So
Yeah.
we knew with family alone it was going to be big, but it was a zoo. Like when I tell you, I loved my ceremony.
Uh-huh.
My ceremony was really beautiful. My husband surprised me with a live string band. We actually sang our vows to each other. It was just like really romantic and whatever. But my reception, I couldn't get out of there soon enough. Like I was, yeah.
Head is spinning, right? Information overload.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's talk about the
Dignity
bus.
bus. Now, if people are not up on what Dignity Bus is, it's an up-to-date phrase for something that's a very common sense sort of thing. We have problems with homeless.
Yeah.
We have problems with where homeless are. We have problems where homeless need to be to get the services they're looking for while they're, trying to get themselves back up on their feet again. And one solution that came along, I believe this is still a very new thing. It only all 2 or 3 things.
We're only
2 or
getting-
3 in the country.
We're getting the 3rd in the whole country.
Right.
Wow.
And the idea is you take a big, huge diesel pusher bus. You know, the kind that you take tours in.
The motor coaches.
Motor coaches, right. Well, yeah, a diesel pusher might not mean something to everybody else. This is a diesel motor, and it's in the back. That's why they call it a diesel pusher. But a huge contemporary bus that could fit 40, 50 people.
Yeah.
And it's got storage in it and all the rest of that sort of thing like that. You take this is a bus that is finished doing jitneys. It's reached the point in its life where it's affordable and it's not doing the jitneys to the airport and the tours and stuff like that. So it's ready for a different stage in its lifetime. But it's completely gone through. It's mechanically sound. And the inside, Joe, have you put those pictures up
Nope,
yet?
we can do it now.
We have a slideshow of some of the snapshots that Valerie and Herson took of the actual bus that we're going to have here in Woonsocket. And this bus is outfitted not with seats, but with bunks.
And how many people can sleep on it?
People,
20.
20
okay.
people can sleep in this in full-size bunks, and it's a beautiful bus. It's got all the safety stuff that you would want. It's got the kick-out windows. It's got the roof access or egress, and the rest of that stuff. It's self-contained for electricity, or it can be hooked up to what we call shore power, a building. It has the fire extinguishers, the lights,
And fire alarms.
and fire alarms, and
CCTV cameras.
cameras all over it. Yeah, and then also curtains for privacy. It's really an enormously useful device, and Valerie was able to, on behalf of the city of Woonsocket, make a deal so that that bus can come to Woonsocket. It's not going to be. Originally, they were talking about giving it to the state, or selling it to the state, and then we'd have to share it with everybody else.
Correct.
But this one's going to come to Woonsocket.
Yeah.
And
I actually.
So we get all 20 seats, right?
That is correct. And it's actually one of my, things work out. And in the end, I'm actually glad that things worked out the way that they did. Because you're right. Originally, the state, this bus,
Right.
and
There's a video that we're going to play in a
Yep.
few minutes that you shot down in Florida with the guy who's actually finishing up rebuilding it for this purpose.
Correct.
And he actually says, well, the state of Rhode Island wanted it to be this color, and it's okay with us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, they usually do them all white, and then they have they put
Graphics.
the Dignity bus on it, and they put a Jesus on it because it's a Christian, company. So the state
Right.
just said don't put
yeah, let's
the
keep
different
it secular.
signs. Yeah.
Right. That makes some sense. That
Yeah.
makes some sense.
So where is it going to be housed in Woonsocket?
A Holy Family, not Holy Trinity, Holy
Right.
Family.
Holy Family Church.
And
Okay.
they've already, well, that was the thing about this bus, that it just didn't fit in my mind how we would not get it, because this was something that Neil Steinberg found a brochure for and brought it to the governor's office. The governor loved the idea. This was especially around the time where he had all the people camping out in front
Yeah.
of the State House, and it just seemed like a simple solution. So he loved the idea. Then, they spoke to Community Care Alliance to be a provider. They loved the idea. They spoke to us. City Council was unanimous on it. I had started the Community Partnership Task Force. Everybody was on board. Then we talked to our state representatives and our senators. Everybody's on board. And then Holy Family invested the money into putting the electrical panels and the sewage drains. So, everything was in place. So I couldn't understand.
But it could be moved to another location.
Oh, it can. It can.
If that became
Necessary.
and that's why I admire the utility of the idea.
Yeah.
Because homeless transportation is always an issue. So if you've got it in this portion of the city, what if they're over in the other portion of the city? Well, you actually could technically go to another portion of the city if the need was there.
Correct. Or if we, we're working hard at tackling the homeless issues here in Woonsocket, and if we reach a place where, I'm hopeful that we don't need the 20 beds and another community does, we can also move it to another community. It's a great situation and solution.
Well, we have
for
a
what
break
we have.
coming up,
Yeah.
Valerie. And when we come back,
We'll
we're
do the
going to play
video.
the video.
Okay, wonderful.
That you shot down in Florida. It explains a lot. It's now the radio audience won't get the pictures, and they're not getting the pictures right now. But you can always go back later on the web and see the replay of the show and get all the pictures and everything else later on if you happen to be driving in your vehicle right now. So it'll be there, and it'll be there all weekend, and so you can go and watch it. So, but when we come back, we're going to play that, and there is audio in there for everyone to hear what's going on. So you describe things. So we'll do that when we come back from the break. I'll remind everybody that 334-1000 is the telephone number to call. The Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce, who's responsible for bringing us good conversation on Friday mornings for many, many years here on ON Radio.
Dr. Jeffrey Dodge believes that good communication is important because it makes patients feel relaxed, reassured, so the visit can be a positive experience. It's important to listen to what patients have to say and to explain clearly what procedures or treatment is best. Dr. Dodge is a family dentist and welcomes children, adults, and senior citizens. And remember, it's important to take good care of your teeth at any age. Dr. Jeffrey Dodge, 1438 Park Avenue, Woonsocket. At Park Square, 762-3044.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON AM and FM.
All right, it's Coffee and here on ON Radio. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Valerie Gonzalez. We're talking about the Dignity Bus that's coming to the city of Woonsocket. Now we want to show you the video that was shot. And Valerie, what are we going to see?
We're going to see, when I arrived in Florida for my vacation, I had no intentions of going for the bus. Everything just kind of came together where I had found out that the bus was not happening, realized the bus is in Florida, and so am I, called Ben Lessing. Ben Lessing gave me the information to the source, and everything just happened so fast. So when you see this video, this is the initial tour and conversation with Tony Sorbal, which is the executive director of I Am the Source.
Oh, okay, very good.
This is Valerie Gonzalez, Woonsocket City Council Vice Chair and host of De Todo Un Poco. And I'm here with Tony Sorbal. I can't even say it right. I'm sorry. Okay. You might have not heard of The Source, which is the company that we're talking to right now, but you've heard of the Dignity Bus. The Dignity Bus we've been talking about for a while. Well, The Source is the provider that is selling the Dignity Bus, and Tony is the executive director of The Source. So we are, believe it or not, I am in Florida, not in Woonsocket, and I am standing right next to the Dignity Bus that has been a part of this conversation for a very long time. Tony's actually going to give us a little bit of history, let us know a little bit of how it all works.
Yes, so we're on site in Orlando at our mechanic shop that does all the repairs to the bus. But this is a 45-foot motor coach that we turned into the third mobile emergency shelter in the United States. There's nobody doing this. Right here is a brand new generator that powers the entire bus. So when the bus is stationary, what'll happen is there's a 220 transfer case right here that gets plugged in, and then that gets plugged into a building, and the bus doesn't even have to run. So you come over here, we'll turn this thing on and show you how
It's going to get loud in a minute.
It's going to get extremely loud in a second. So underneath the bus, you have storage compartments on both sides of the bus.
Nice.
So the state of Rhode Island asked us to wrap the bus in all white. They didn't want any logos on it. They wanted it to be plain. They didn't want any graphics on it. So we'll take a walk in the inside and give you a tour. You got everything turned on? So everything from brand new carpet to go ahead in. I want you to have the wow factor when you go in there.
So this is what it looks like. I was wondering.
So if you backtrack, we know that it's cold in Woonsocket.
Yeah.
We know it's cold. We put the first fireplace. There's a fireplace
saw
right
that.
here.
There's
Yeah.
a fire.
There's a
Right here.
fireplace. It's the first fireplace that we put in a unit. There's security cameras. There's televisions. And this was built by our former homeless individuals in our community. So you can't get a better story than helping homeless people across the country.
By the way, these are really nice mattresses.
Each bed
Memory foam.
Each bed has a security curtain, its own light receptacle, charger, air conditioning, and
see
heat.
there's light, electricity. in
Air
each one of
conditioning and
this.
heat, the whole 9 yards. There's a bathroom in the back.
What do you have? I know there's still kind of working.
So on the right, there's a place to store your shoes, your belongings on the right. So nobody can get on the bunk with shoes.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they come in here, they sit down, they put their shoes on here. And everything, as you can see, is cleanable. So it
Yeah.
gets clean and disinfected. It's all this white PVC.
This camera's everywhere.
Cameras, there's smoke detectors and fire extinguishers. We've met every standard that you can imagine.
This is with the lights on.
They did everything from custom curtains, custom mattresses, had to be custom made. Everything is custom here.
Well, I've been talking about this thing for a very long time, and there's a lot of people in Woonsocket and in the state of Rhode Island that have been racking their brains to get a creative solution to a crisis that we're having. And one of the things I loved about this Dignity Bus is that what it provides does not tack on to the tax roll. you know, and it's a way to simply meet the immediate need. And I know we're still in negotiations because I'm a woman of faith. and I know I wanted to at least get the view of what could have been if it doesn't happen, but my hope is that somehow, some way, there's still some way that we can make it happen.
And you're standing in it.
Yeah, I'm standing.
You're standing in the bus.
Dignity bus. It's a real thing. It exists,
And we did it all so that you can spray it down and clean it because of COVID. Every single night, people have to take off the bedding, wash it, disinfect it, all of that stuff gets cleaned every day.
Yeah.
Built by former homeless people.
There's only 3
Amazing.
people.
Right?
I've been running around taking pictures.
crazy,
I'm trying
right?
to get some pictures over there, but I haven't been
Go
over
ahead.
there yet.
Yeah.
And standing in here now, we've been here, only here for a few minutes,
Yeah.
and the AC's kicking.
Oh, yeah.
And it's AC and heat.
and it's 90 degrees outside, and it's
Yeah.
already very comfortable in
Right.
here.
Yeah.
And the door's open.
Look at that.
And you got a fireplace for when it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a TV. There's a TV up front.
I see that. Is that where a regular TV, or is that for the security?
No. So the security's on your phone. So
Yeah.
you or anybody else can get on your phone and have access to.
Oh, so you can have like people working back here. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
so we
see-
do. So we have 2 staff
Yeah.
that work every night. One's a driver, and one's an attendant. One's up there, and one's back here, right? And we put rules and regulations. We put sponsorship stuff. That hooks to Wi-Fi. But that's what we're about. We know that providing housing doesn't solve homelessness.
Yeah.
We know community does.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the single greatest reason for homelessness is a profound, catastrophic loss of family. Well, this is settling people. When you know where you're going to be, you have a bed every night, and then to move you into your own permanent house.
How important it is for people to have a good night's sleep.
Sleep is a game changer.
Yeah, especially when you have people in the streets that are dealing with all kinds of different issues. Without a good night's sleep, your mind will not be able to process.
You
as
can't
best as
navigate
you can.
through the social service system. So
Yeah.
if you come to the source, we have everything from job training to dental restoration to employability programs to AA meetings. We have affordable housing that we just built. We're moving people out of homelessness. We're not interested in
Yeah.
providing service.
Yeah.
We're interested in moving you so that you can be a tax-payable citizen.
All right, very good. Nicely done, Valerie.
Oh, thank you.
Bus looks awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is amazing. I kept hearing and advocating for this bus, but the truth is, I didn't have a real picture
Yeah,
in my
of what it
mind
would
of
be.
what it was. Just the concept alone was enough for us to advocate for it. But when I saw it, then I became even more passionate about it. And it's, and again, when we were recording that, at that point, Tony Zorba was like, well, good luck with your efforts in Woonsocket. And I did say, we're still in negotiations. And I laughed because at that point he was saying we weren't, but I think that in this case, me being not just a city councilor, but me being a minister really played a role in it too, because this is a Christian organization and we were able to, relate at different levels. And the fact that, come on, and somebody actually sent me a message at one point and they're like, we're not drinking the Kool-Aid that,
Really?
you just showed up there for vacation and you just happened. But it really was the day I got there, I heard the news that it wasn't going to happen. And the next morning was when I realized, wait, we're both here. Tony Zorba lives in the same town as my parents. And the bus was, I called him on the day that we were supposed to go to Orlando. And the bus was on the way to the resort that we were going. So it was only like 15 minutes away.
Wow.
So we didn't even have to go completely out of our way or anything. And it just worked out so perfectly. And I'm just glad that they gave Woonsocket the opportunity. I do want to say that it was easy for me to find the courage to go and negotiate because of the support that I knew I had here in Woonsocket. Knowing that the city councilors were unanimous on this, right before I left, the mayor and I had a conversation on how this is such a great solution for Woonsocket, and she had made personal calls so that this would go through. And everything was a little, late, like it wasn't going to happen. But also the task force, the community partnership task force, and knowing that all the providers, the first thing I did was secure that Rhode Island Foundation was still in, Community Care Alliance was still in, and Holy Family. And once that was in place, I knew everybody else was going to kind of go along.
Sure.
So knowing that I had the support of everyone, it really just gave me the courage to go out there.
If you were to make a guess, when do you think the bus may arrive in the city?
I would say end of June, beginning July.
Yeah, all right. That's relatively soon.
Yeah, they will be. It's all going to depend on how
Who's going to
soon-
deliver it? Amazon or UPS?
Yeah, Amazon. No, they're actually driving here. In the bus will be the executive director, Tony Zarbo, the man that you guys saw
With the red
standing
hat.
next to him with the red hat. I don't remember his name. But also, this takes a specialized mechanic. He's also going to come with,
Just in case.
just in case. So,
Right.
it's important to know the bus is $150,000. We spend $140,000 for 6 months on 15 rooms. That was 2 cycles of 3 months. And so now it's $150,000 for something we can use all year round. And we have
Use
to
it again
remember.
next year and then again next year.
No, and the thing is that those $70,000 a year were coming from ARPA funds. ARPA funds is going to end. So this is a solution that allows us to have housing beyond ARPA funds, and it's not going to cost the city a dime. So for me, the math. So we know that when Florida's emission is not the same as Rhode Island. So
Rhode
there's
Island
a
is-
possibility.
Rhode Island is California emissions.
Yeah, so it might not pass our emissions, which was one of the things that was holding the sale with the state. But Woonsocket is saying we're willing to pay even another $50,000 to get it to pass emissions because it just makes sense,
Right.
and it's going to give us a housing solution that is going to go way beyond ARPA funds and all these other organizations, that are already committed to providing operational costs and things that it really is not going to cost us anything. It just makes sense.
All right. Well, Valerie, perfect. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you for
showing-
having me. It's
a
showing us
lot
all
of
the
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great, and hope everything works out when the bus gets here by the end of June.
We'll have a big party.
I hope so. I'll bring cameras.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Very good.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This weather forecast is being brought to you by Insperity.
Sunny skies today with a high of 73 degrees. Tonight, clear. Overnight low of 42. Saturday's weather, sunshine and 77. Sunday, sunshine and 82. Memorial Day, Monday, sunshine and 76. Tuesday, sunny and 74. Wednesday, sunny and 82. And next Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 90.
Thanks, Dave. Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. Sunny skies and 64 degrees. Insperity, providing scalable HR solutions, access to better benefits, HR technology, and payroll for over 35 years. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. At the turn of this century, 27% of people who passed away were cremated. By the year 2020, that figure rose to 56%. The Cremation Association of America projects that by the year 2040, 4 out of 5 Americans will choose cremation over a casket burial. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center of Woonsocket can answer your questions about the cremation process. Go online to providencecremation.com. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center on Spring Street, Woonsocket. Let them create the perfect service for your loved one. Berarducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, this is Romeo Berthium inviting you to join me every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 for The Saturday Show. This all-request program includes music, news, sports, weather, and all sorts of community announcements. And what a great way to start your weekend. Join me this Saturday morning.
This portion of Coffee and is sponsored by the Valley Breeze newspaper.
Since its founding in 1996, the Valley Breeze has been the trusted source for local news in the Blackstone Valley. Our readers and advertisers understand that shining a light on all aspects of our communities and doing it with some of the best local journalism anywhere makes these cities and towns better places to live in. We believe that truth has value and should triumph over rumors and misinformation. See valleybreeze.com or any of our 5 editions for more on how you can be part of this local news success story.
It is Coffee and on ON Radio. It's Friday. It's May 26th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan. Dave Richards is here, and we're being joined by Rich Lane from Post 85, American Legion Post. Nice to have you here, Rich.
Nice to be back.
Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Wearing his Red Sox shirt, even though the Red Sox have lost 4 in a row, but that's okay, Rich.
It's all right. Celtics won. That's a good thing, right?
That's a good thing, yeah.
We'll see if they
which
keep baseball
going.
player is the jersey from? Now, that's the
I didn't
question.
see the number.
Oh, you didn't see
I
one?
did.
No. This is a while
Go ahead.
back.
Go ahead. Turn it around.
Wow, Jonathan Papelbon. That does go back a few years.
Well, yeah, I've got the Kevin Youkilis.
He's 58 now.
I got Kevin Youkilis, too. I think I only paid $20 for the shirts when those guys
all
got
right.
traded.
There you go. That's the best time to buy.
You got that right.
I guess
All
so,
right,
yeah.
Rich, what's going on at the Post?
Well, I'll tell you, of course, we've got Memorial Day weekend coming up. So if you have not gone up to the Eternal Flame site yet to visit that, might be a good weekend. It's going to be gorgeous out there. So it might be a good weekend to drop by. I'll be going up there right around 5:30 tonight to get the lawn all nice and pretty and everything.
You just
so,
gave me an idea.
yeah,
You just gave me an idea.
I did.
If I can get out there with a camera and take some more shots of the Eternal Flame site, the way it is now,
Yeah.
we could run that as B-roll during the ceremony, the live ceremony on Monday at Davison Avenue.
All right. Well,
That might be nice.
well, yeah. Let me make sure I get
It's
the
not the
lawn
same
nice and
thing.
mowed tonight too.
Well, we won't let you look bad, kid.
Yeah, okay.
It's
yeah.
all in the camera angles.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm going to be heading up there about 5:30 tonight to get the lawn done, so make it nice and pristine for you.
I think that'd be a nice thing to have some shots of that. You know how they take pictures and they just put it in while someone else is talking, and
Yeah,
yeah, that might be nice.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Any publicity we can get is good publicity, that's for
Well,
sure.
we're very proud of what you're doing there.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But other than the memorial, like I said, like I mentioned the last couple of weeks, our bands are starting up, so if you got a pencil and a piece of paper in your hand, or you just got a good memory, on June 3rd, which is a Saturday from 7 to 11, we're going to start out our concert season with Radio Badland. And then on June 10th, we got So Many Roads coming in. June 17th, a band called Platinum Hill. And on June 24th, a band called Tucker's Creek will be coming in. So that's pretty much the slate for June. Of course, July and the whole other bit. We got a lot of things coming up in July. Those of you who have been up there before, July is when we do our golf ball drop thing, where we got 2 bands. I want to say, when I'm looking at the band thing here, can I tell? No, I can't. But there's a day that we actually have 2 bands there when we do the golf ball drop, and has some food available and stuff. But that's all coming up in July, and I'll have a good schedule on that for everybody.
And if you missed any of that, by the way, it's all posted at the WoonsocketRadio.com website on the events calendar.
It is. They actually got back to you, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I kept asking them to, so. But it's a good thing. But last week, actually, I had mentioned that we were getting some, for the post courtesy vehicle, that we were getting some people to give some outside donations, which
That's
is
nice.
good. And I had a gentleman that dropped by with a check for $100 from
boy.
Knights of Columbus. General Mullen Assembly, and Craig
Moylan,
Lacouture,
yeah.
I told, was the gentleman that
Nice.
dropped it by, so I wanted to mention The Knights of Columbus Assembly 1057 out of Woonsocket here coming by, giving us a $100 donation. And there was also another gentleman, I won't give his last name, some people don't want their last name, but the guy's name is Scott, and he's out of Slatersville, Rhode Island, and he gave us $100. So
Nice. That'll
isn't that nice?
take care of gasoline for a while.
Takes care of gas for a little while and stuff
Insurance.
like that. So it's really good stuff to have. So we're just very, very happy about
Nice
it.
to have a little something in the old account that you can pull from and not have to worry who that.
Well, yeah.
We're
and
depleting it.
Yeah, and people are calling to get trips. So
Good.
once again, to remind any veteran out there, if you have a private doctor's appointment, if you're a veteran, or if you have a VA appointment that you need transportation to and from, right? We'll pick you up at your house. We'll wait till your appointment's done. We'll drop you off back home. It's a courtesy vehicle at American Legion Post 85, and you can reach us at 401-766-7585, and you give your name and a phone number to the person answering the phone. They will get in touch with me. I am the duty officer for the vehicle.
The scheduler.
Yes, I am the vehicle man. That thing don't move unless I say it does. And I'll get all the information from you. I'll hook you up with one of our volunteer drivers, and they will do the transporting for you. And there's no charge for this.
Has it happened yet, Rich, where unfortunately two people need the car at the same time yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Okay,
yet.
good,
Not
good.
yet. That, and that's why we restricted. So if you call me and I tell you the date's not available, it's not because I'm being mean.
Someone
but
else has it.
Someone else has it that day. And what we
Yeah.
don't want to do
Double
is we
book.
don't want to have two appointments in one day.
Yeah.
Because let's say we got a veteran with an appointment at 10 a.m. down in Providence at the VA hospital. Well, what if his appointment gets delayed and we're there an extra hour and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you book an appointment at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon for another veteran on that same day, that guy at 1:30 and 2 in the afternoon,
Might not make it.
he might not make it. So if we, and it's not out of being mean, but if we restrict it to one appointment a day, that way we know we can service that veteran on that day, no problems. Drivers don't have to say, "Oh my God, I can't do two." We're not run. We're just doing
You
it
don't want
right.
that. You don't want them speeding back.
Right.
Woonsocket
And you know
and-
something, I tell everybody, you got to remember, it's a courtesy vehicle. We're not under
Any obligation.
No obligation to the VA.
Yeah.
We've got no obligations to anybody. This is our vehicle. We run it out of our post, and we have our rules. And that's the way we're going to do it.
All right. Very good. All right, Rich, you came in here all fire and brimstone. There's something going on in Massachusetts that's bugging you.
Bugging me.
Yeah.
God, I have a hard time understanding how people think sometimes.
All right.
Because I'm always right.
I've heard that about you.
But Dave's over there snickering. But I'm watching the news the other day, and
Yeah.
I see this thing, and I've got it down on my cell phone. So
Wanna get it
from
right.
a news
Yeah.
publication. I want to make sure I get it right. The state of Massachusetts, the Mass Board of Education, I guess, met on Tuesday.
All right.
And now they want to try to implement a policy of restricting cell phones for grades K through 12 in the Massachusetts school system. And the state is actively encouraging schools to pilot a cell phone restriction policy, indicating that they could split up to $1 million among the school districts who pilot the new policies. Okay? The pilot program. Now guess where that just guess where that $1 million that they have to allocate is coming from.
ARPA funds.
No. How about the emergency COVID relief funds?
Well, that's.
All right.
I thought they were about the same.
Same
there.
thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but
All right.
here's my point, right? My God, don't we have physical security needs in a lot of our Massachusetts and schools all over the country, please, to try to tighten up the school building itself against, all the bad stuff you see going on in schools today? So you got nothing better to do with your COVID relief funds then let's figure out how to take cell phones away from kids. Boy, that cell phone, that's going to really take out an entire school, ain't it?
As a parent of a child in the Massachusetts school system, most schools have a policy already in place.
Yeah, get it off your desk.
Well, it's basically, some classes allow it because, calculators are on the phone and history stuff helps you look stuff up for that and for science. Others are put it away, and I know they have free use of them during lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's already a policy in place.
Yeah, but I guess it's different in all the school districts.
I guess it is, and they want to make it uniform across the.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a uniform, but
one
can you
size
imagine-
fits all.
Yeah,
Let's
let's take $1 million and dangle it in front of the school district. And say, how about, we all get on the same page and we'll give you $1 million. I mean, come on, take the COVID relief emergency funds and do something useful with it. Rather, I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, if my parents wanted something taken away from me, they'd just take it.
The problem here, Rich, is that it's $1 million. There's 339 school districts in the state of Massachusetts. Every school district gets $2,900.
Well, no, it says they could split up to $1 million. Yeah.
So if we split it evenly, every
yeah.
school district gets $2,900.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, so I got it wrong. I thought it was $1 million for each
For each
district.
school district?
Yeah.
No, that would be $339 million. That's not going to
Okay,
happen.
so I read it wrong, but I stand corrected then on that.
right.
But still,
It can be used. It can be used for something
that
else.
$1 million could be used. Yeah, if you got one school district that needs, a big upgrade in their school systems, or some, I don't know, bathroom facilities or whatever. But come on.
All right, we're gonna take a break here on the Coffee and Program. So I'm going to give it over to Dave Richards, who's cruising through this week's Valley Breeze newspaper.
Yeah, camera one's going to have to be refocused here, Joe, but that's okay. I have in my hand the North Smithfield, Blackstone, and Woonsocket edition of the Valley Breeze newspapers, and I'll just read you some of the headlines that we have here. Woonsocket is stepping up to purchase Dignity Bus. We just talked about it.
Heard
for
all
half
about
an
it.
hour, and read all about it. Bella Pelletier has the story there. The Latin American dance that went on during the Fancy Senior Follies at the Senior Center here in Woonsocket. There's a nice color picture there. Bob Thurber and Fran Golumbewski in costume dancing there. That's certainly very nice, with a story and more photos on page 11. North Smithfield is sticking with a single $18 million bond question, and you'll have to zoom out on that, Joe. And they are going to they're going to decide later whether or not they build the new building or they just fix up the building they have, but they got to do something with the fire station. I'm sorry, I meant to say police station in the old Bushy School over there. We'll find out what it's going to be, but you still need to get the bid on the bond question on the ballot, and they had to go to the General Assembly for that, so they're doing that. And a couple has taken over the new ownership of the Ollie's Pizzeria on South Main Street, moving to the Cumberland and Lincoln edition now. Fireworks parade, wreath laying marks Memorial Day in Lincoln. Also in Blackstone, too, as a matter of fact, but that wasn't on the front page. Then there's some controversy. Ethan Shorey gives you the story in the Cumberland and Lincoln editions about Ann and Hope sign. You know, the sign that says Ann and Hope on it this way?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just outside the project zone in Cumberland, and how are we going to save it? My goodness, I don't know. Well, there's a story on that. And, of course, a new school could help retain students and save money. Do you want to build a new school?
Where?
For Blackstone Valley prep type of school.
All right.
All right, Town Council will be looking at that. Plus lots of ads and things like that. The Valley Breeze newspapers, free where you shop every Thursday. They bring you this portion of Coffee and every week.
Thanks, Dave.
The best little auction in Massachusetts is Trudell's Auction Gallery in Bellingham. Auctions are presented every other Monday starting at 10 a.m. Please check out their website, TrudellsAuction.com, to see when the next auction takes place. You can stop by Trudell's Auction Gallery on the weekends before the auction to preview all the items being offered. You will see antiques and all sorts of personal property items from various estates. Trudell's Auction Gallery, 799 South Main Street, Bellingham.
Wasting away again in Margaritaville.
Hi, this is Joe Callahan, your maitre d' inside the Tiki Bar, letting you know the Tiki Bar is now open 2 days a week on ON, AM, and FM, Saturdays at noon, and a replay Mondays at 6. The Tiki Bar is sponsored by attorney Bob Lauder, the Carew Investment Group, Family Discount Furniture, and Pepin Lumber. Here's your chance to catch 1 full hour of Jimmy Buffett music inside the Tiki Bar, Saturdays at noon and Mondays at 6 on ON, AM, and FM.
You can depend on us for public service, ON Radio.
All right, it's Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here. Dave Richards here.
Hi
Richard
there.
Lane is here as well. And so good news. The manager, the baseball manager of the Minnesota Twins, we all know is Rocco Baldelli.
We do.
Yes.
From Rhode Island and from up here in Woonsocket. Him and his wife have announced they will be having twins in a few months.
Wow.
Minnesota Twins.
They're having a Minnesota Twins. That's
There
right.
you
It's
go.
very good. Yep.
How
Baldelli's
remarkable
wife,
is that?
Allie,
the manager of
yeah,
the Twin has
is
twins.
having twins. Yes, they
Wow.
announced online she's expecting twins sometime later this year. Baldelli's
Will
been
he
the,
make the game that day?
well,
That's the question on everyone's mind.
Well, it depends. Later this year could be November.
Well, I
And
suppose.
then the baseball season's
suppose,
over.
yeah.
So, but Baldelli's been the Minnesota manager for the past 5 years, and they helped celebrate the announcement with a victory over San Francisco last night, and they're doing well there in the AL Central. So, congratulations to Rocco and Ali Baldelli. They'll be having their own set of Minnesota Twins
There you go.
later on this year. So, good. Hey, well, good for them. All right. Very nice. So let's see. Rich mentioned about the Celtics won last night. Did you see the New England Patriots being fined $50,000? No, not the Patriots. Bill Belichick is being fined $50,000.
What do you do?
A scheduling
He
mishap.
didn't do anything,
Oh,
but he's the top dog,
Yeah.
so he gets the fine. One of his new coaches, Joe Judge, he was a head coach last year with somebody, I can't remember who, but he's working under Bill Belichick now. They're doing their OTAs, their
Yep.
outside, whatever, I can never remember what that stands for. Outside activities, or whatever. So according
Outside team activities.
Thanks, Dave. It might not be outside, but close enough. But when you're having these activities, the NFL has said you do it for this amount of time per day.
It's part of the
4
collective
hours.
bargaining agreement with the players' union.
Okay, so you can only do it for 4 hours per day. 4 hours comes and goes. Joe Judge tells a couple of players they got to do something else, watch film or I don't know, do what something, and it lasted another 20 minutes. $50,000 fine
And you
for
lose,
that extra 20 minutes.
And you lose
and,
two.
And 2 days they couldn't practice.
but the players. I mean, they can't make their own decisions on this.
Well,
I
they
mean,
could have said no, and
When
it's
your
time
boss
to go.
tells you to do
but-
something,
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of those deals where you will do this, but you might get caught. Well, we'll worry about getting caught later.
Well, something like.
And they got caught this time.
I mean, when you're dealing with, collective bargaining agreements like Dave just mentioned.
Organized team activities, not outside.
Organized. But you want to know something I had? And I mean, maybe but it's kind of the same. I remember I was, years ago, I was working down the Centrum in Worcester, and I used to help with the,
With the roadie.
with the shows.
Yeah.
And I was a local roadie.
Yeah.
And I remember, I was setting up some stuff on the stage, and one of the electricians, I saw he was struggling a little bit. He was up on a ladder and stuff, and he's trying to grab something. So I went over and I handed him a tool, just to hand him a tool.
Oh,
And
no.
my
Demarcation.
God,
Not
did
in
I
the
get
union.
jumped on.
demarcation.
Whoa.
The union come
Where are
running
you
over.
going?
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
So,
I was helping.
I mean, I guess when you're dealing with collective bargaining agreements like that,
There's a fine line.
There's a fine line, what you can do and what you can't do.
Or an exact line, I should say.
Yep. And the coach just probably should have looked at him and said, "No, you don't understand. You're doing something else, and you're doing it right now."
So,
Right,
and they
yeah.
did it, so they went past it. So,
There you
whatever
go.
reason,
There
since
you go.
Judge is under
Yeah.
Belichick got fined $50,000.
Wonder. I'm sure it comes out of a fine pool up there. They must have. I heard that about pro sports leagues. Like a lot of these guys
Oh yeah, they have their
on the
kangaroo
teams,
courts.
they give a little bit of money toward a certain
Yeah,
fund
in case something
And
happens.
I wonder if that happened with Jamie Benn in Dallas the other day. I wonder if they
What did he
chipped
do?
in that. Oh, you didn't see that? The
No.
cross check. Oof. Jamie Benn for Dallas delivered
I
that
didn't.
vicious
No.
cross check.
I saw another hit that was
Yeah, he
looked
ended up
clean to
getting
me.
a 5-minute game misconduct,
Yeah, all
suspended 2 games. Oh, yeah.
All right then. It just it reminded me though, kind of like this when I was in high school. baseball was a spring sport, and yet we had a team meeting in January, and the coach said, it was going to be inside baseball activities starting in January, catch inside the gym, and baseball. You could have batting practice with soft baseball, so no one got really hurt. And he said, if you plan to play in the spring, you better be there in January.
Yeah.
So the word went out. Oh, this is mandatory. Gotcha. I understand now. So when the coach says you do something,
you do it.
I don't care what the collective bargaining agreement says. All right. So that's what's going on there. We have another candidate running for Congress, as Dave is keeping track on the tote board.
17 Democrats.
17.
Whoa.
No Republicans. 17 Democrats. This one's down in Charlestown, and he's an elder with the Narragansett tribe. And that's all we know about this guy. Bella Machado Noka. And I didn't even realize Narragansett or Charlestown was in the 1st district.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I thought that was in the 2nd district, but okay. So there you go. Someone else to choose from, Rich.
Yeah. Democrat. All Democrats, huh?
All Democrats, yeah.
That's something, huh? Gee, I wonder if it's a Democratic state. I just putting the look at Dave giving me the evil eye over there.
Y'all think?
So the one of the people that was killed in Johnston yesterday, Wednesday morning, I should say, TJ May, Thomas TJ May, was part of the Johnston Little League organization. And they were the first people that put out a statement how they were very sorry that their person was killed. He's put in a lot of time, coach, all the other things you do with Little League, and so he was shot and killed. Just a very bizarre story. This guy James Harrison, who also killed his mother, for whatever reason, they're not telling us motives yet. And come to find out, what I've read about this whole story is that TJ caught this guy Harrison climbing a ladder up to a window outside May's house. And so I'm like, well, that's really odd. But now, his 15-year-old daughter, and it's not known, they're not saying if the ladder was put to her window or not, but I'm kind of putting 2 and 2 together, thinking that's what he was doing. Just an observation.
Speculation alert.
That is a speculation. But now he shoots her too.
Jeez.
Now she did not die, and non-life-threatening injuries, so that's good there. And then he goes off and, heads down to St. Anne's Cemetery in Cranston, then comes back up Plainfield Pike, crashes his car, gets out of the car with a gun in his hand, Rich, starts waving it at the police. Guess what they do?
Hopefully.
They blew him away.
Yay! Thank God.
So they took care of him. So
Suicide by cop.
That's right. So 3 people die in this incident, and one 15-year-old girl gets hurt. Seriously injured, but is expected to survive. And they just want to mention that this was May was a very good guy, and just the whole Johnston community is mourning him, because if you're all part of the Little League community down there, you know this guy.
That's why there's so many people who think that if you take away all the guns, when people get angry, and it seems that people are angry a lot these days, but when people get angry, they don't have deadly force readily available. And that's why so many people are screaming to have all the guns taken away from everyone.
Yeah, it sounds like a reasonable
it's
argument,
logical,
and it is. But
do we know that it's going to change anything? Well, I don't know. I mean,
they must
Cain
choose
and Abel
another.
didn't have firearms.
They used a rock. And look at this boy in Blackstone that stabbed his classmate. That happened yesterday, Rich.
No, it didn't stab. Slashed.
Brought a razor to school and slashed another kid in the hand. And the other kid required stitches.
I'm going to go back and get how about some good news? Can we do some?
Sure.
Okay, I got a little bit
like
of
good news.
Coming out of my mouth. Good news. No, great. And something we did last week with the Post is I remember telling you folks that the auxiliary was going up to Lowe's.
That's right.
Selling the poppies and stuff. So they did go on Saturday and Sunday, even though Saturday had the rain.
Bit of a washout.
But they made like almost $500 in the 2 days, which was great. Isn't that good? And people were coming out of Lowe's, and both my granddaughters and Amy, one of the officers, the auxiliary, she had her daughter there, and my 2 granddaughters, and they they were selling poppies up there, and my granddaughters are so excited because the people coming out of Lowe's up there actually acknowledged them, said hello. Some of them did give money. Some of them, that's okay. That's okay. But you want to know something when you got kids involved and you're trying to show them to do the right thing, to honor veterans, to do things like that, selling poppies and stuff like that. At least acknowledge them. Okay, you might not be able to afford to put money in the can. That's okay. But acknowledge them. Say good morning. Say hello. Don't just walk by them with your nose in the air. And that's what I tell everybody when you see these, when you see the veterans stand there with the poppies at the intersections or at the stoplights and stuff. Just roll down your window and say, gee, sorry, I haven't, I'm kind of short on money, but thank you for your service. Heck, that's just as good as a donation as far as I'm concerned, being a veteran, So just say that.
Sure.
Just say that.
Are they going to be out this weekend with the Southern Poppies?
I do not know what if they have anything at all planned. I really don't. So,
all right. Just wondering.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it for the show today. Thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Thanks to Valerie Gonzalez coming in earlier and telling us about the Dignity Bus coming to the city of Woonsocket. That's fantastic. And Rich
telling
Lane.
us and showing us.
That's right, and showing us, pictures and video. Rich Lane, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, come on down and visit our Eternal Flame, please, down at Post 85, Memorial Day weekend.
Very good. Dave Richards, thanks for coming in.
If you want to know what's going on this weekend, simply go to WoonsocketRadio.com and look at our events calendar. I'm so proud of it, and it's so inclusive, and also it's open-ended. There's a little link over there if you'd like to add something to the calendar. Be sure to click on there, and we'll get it right in there for you. And also, we do want to remind you that in a few minutes, today's Coffee Amp program will be rendered out and put up on the website, so go to the archive, the TV archives at WoonsocketRadio.com, and you can then get a chance to look at the videos we were watching that Valerie brought in.
Very good. Coming up at 9:30, it's Do You Remember Gary Smith and the Crew right here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
Kirkbrae Country Club in Lincoln has officially canceled for